Hello, everybody. How are we? Hope you're all having a lovely morning. Welcome to Head, Heart and Balance, the Art of Funambulism Conference. We are here today to discuss the ins and outs and the depths of highwire walking from the walkers themselves. It's a really exciting conversation that we're going to be having today. So welcome. My name is Ellis Grover. I am a highwire walker. I've been walking highwires for about 10 years and have nowhere near the experience of the guests that we have on this conference today. So let's, if you have any questions, stick them on the chat and we'll try and get to them. We'll try our best to see them and we'll put them into our little chat here or put them on social media. Hashtag on Twitter is wires crossed if you want to put anything there. So let's get to our guests here. First up, we have Oliver Zimmermann. Oliver, if you'd give us a little bit of who you are, and we'll start the chat. All right.
Oh, hello. My name is Oliver Zimmermann. And I'm working on highwire since 23 years now. Started in Belgium, then switched over to France. And well, I'm from Germany originally, so well, working on the wire, and I had the break for 1.5 years. And tomorrow I'm leaving for the first show again. So I'm happy it's starting again.
Nice. Wonderful. And we'll pass over to Tatiana as well, and Jan. Tell us a bit about yourselves, guys.
Hi. I'm Tatiana. I'm a wire walker. I began when I am 8 years old, so 29 years on the wire. I've begun in France.
And my name is Jan. I'm not a highwire walker, but in the company we have together, I am the technical manager partly. So I do the setups in company Basinga for the highwire setups we do. And we are performing again for the first time on a big height this afternoon.
Yeah.
Wow, brilliant. Squeezing it in there. That's how exciting is that. And last but not least, Mr. Andrea.
Hi, everybody. I'm Andrea Loreni from Italy. I walk the wire from 16 years. I'm the younger in the team here. And I'm a Zen practitioner, and I find my path both walking the wire and sitting in the cushion. And for me, they are walking or sitting are posture to face the void. And so I'm walking through the void these two ways.
Amazing. Gorgeous photographs as well. Wow, such experience in the room here. It's incredible to see, really. The first question I thought I'd put to you guys is, I mean, you've kind of said, Tatiana and Jan, how old you were when, or Tatiana, when you started. What made you take the first step into highwire and why did you start so young? Put that to Tatiana first.
J'ai eu la chance d'avoir une école de cirque loisirs où j'habitais.
Tatiana was really happy to have a circus school where highwire walking was taught right next to where she lived.
Quand j'avais 7 ans, j'ai vu une femme funambule qui traversait entre deux immeubles où j'habitais.
When she was 7 years old, she saw a lady crossing between two buildings where she lived.
Et j'ai su que ça m'a fait quelque chose de très fort et j'ai su que c'était ça que j'avais envie de faire.
And that was such a touching moment that she said, this is what I want to do. And that's when she started to go to this school.
Wow. And was it in the family before, or was it a completely new?
Ah non, pas du tout. Après, mon père est musicien, donc il y avait quand même une fibre artistique.
no circus in the family. My father is a guitar player, so there is an artistic fiber in the family, but no circus.
So cool. My father was a guitarist as well, so we've got something in common there. Yeah, wonderful. And how about you, Andrea? Like, what made you take the first step? I know that you're a very Zen guy. You meditate a lot.
There's something like that for Tatiana, but I saw street performing, not on the wire. So I fall in love with the street performing and juggling and something like this. But with this idea, I will step closer to the balancing of circus, different kind of balances, the leather, the monocycle, and finally the wire. But I didn't know what I want to do exactly. And funambulism drop in by herself was not really my choice to make the funambulism. But right now I see this is my way, even if I didn't know, because when I was young, I live in a small village close to Torino, and no idea about funambulism, no idea that your future can be on the wire, no? And so I cannot imagine something like this. But then happened to meet the wire. So now this is my way.
Yeah, wonderful. And you, Oliver?
Yeah, it's I came to circus by accident. I was driving to England by hitchhiking, and I met a guy who went to circus school, and I never heard about circus school before. So it was just like an amazing moment for me, like, oh, that does exist. And that was a beginning when I started to go to circus school. And in the circus school, I first learned wire walking. And then I had the opportunity to walk on the long wire. It was, for me, it was, wire walking was a little bit frustrating because it was short and I'm not really acrobat. And so I wanted to do long distance walk, and after 6 years, there was some friends. They have a farm, big community, and they wanted. They had a feast for their 30 years existing, and so I wanted to do a show for them. And fortunately, I found a sponsor who gave me a wire and a winch, and so I started just in a field. I started training, and then I dropped on the wire, and I never left it since that moment.
Wow, it's so interesting. I'm really intrigued with high wire, of how it's always such a personal journey. I've not spoken to many high wire walkers around the world, but the journey is always is so unique and so personal, and it's quite an exclusive club of people that we're all a part of, I suppose. So that's very interesting to hear that there aren't any like family influences, and you found it all organically. Yeah, really cool. Was it I'll start with Oliver again. Was it a mental battle? You said you kind of started in a field. Was it quite a natural founding to the wire? Was your kind of first steps on the wire, did they feel right, or did it take a long time to build the height and build the strength?
Well, it took quite a long time, because while I'm not really a friend of height,
right,
and well, a little bit scared of height as well. But the first time I went higher, like from 2 meters to 4 meters. The first crossing was like one breath every step, and like, okay, I'm concentrated, I can do this. I did it lower, it's the same wire, and and with the training, with the time, it came in like become natural to me. And now it's really natural. I'm still a little bit scared of height, but with mental work, I'm not panicked by this fear of height. So I can work, and I really feel good when I'm walking on the wire. And it's always as well the connection with the public, which make it easy to go up there and make it fun, makes me happy.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, cool. And Andrea, I know you have an interesting perspective on fear, and Oliver mentioned that there. What about the process for you? How did that go?
Yeah, I think fear, I get used to fear. I get used to be scary. And I remember the first step, the first time I make a big show, because it's the same feeling I have every show. My first step is the same step. Is something about fear, is something dropping off myself. And with the here on the wire, I get used to this fear, and it's something like a friend. You know, what we do is dangerous, and a friend telling us, "Be careful, it's a good fellow on the wire." No, and so my way with fear is something like acceptance and hugging every feeling it comes along the walk. And same for fear. I'm not scared about hate, but it means I am scared, but it's okay. I can walk with this fear. And the first time I met the hate was when I was 8 years old. I was on a building of my grandmother, and maybe a 6th or 10th floor. And this time I was very scared about fear and stepped back, because this void, this emptiness was calling me. And in some way I was not ready to step in. I was too young and not so strong, not so built up. And so I stepped back. But it means this emptiness fascinated me some way. Otherwise I was not to be scared, because I can face it with no danger to step in. So I step back, I take my time to be strong, to be ready to lose myself in this emptiness, and to accept fear as a feeling of our life, something like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree there. How interesting. And Tatiana, for you, it's different, I suppose, being 8 years old and starting to walk on wires. And I guess you had a lot of time in the process. When did you start walking higher and higher, or were you on a low wire for a long time?
Tout s'est fait petit à petit.
We did everything step by step in school, indeed.
Et à 8 ans, on ne se rend pas trop compte de la hauteur.
At 8 years old, you do not really understand what's height and falling and emptiness.
Et j'ai commencé avec un fil à 1 mètre, avec des tapis qui étaient juste en dessous.
I started with the wire at 1 meter high, and the carpet, the mats were right below it.
Un autre fil avec des tapis qui étaient plus bas.
Another wire where the height between the wire and the mats was a little more important.
Et un 3e fil qui était à 3 mètres de haut, avec le même rapport et avec un fil en dessous.
And a third wire that was at 3 meters of height with a net underneath, right below it.
Et du coup, en fait, c'était toujours le même rapport de hauteur. Donc, quand on allait en haut, c'est comme ça que je me suis habituée petit à petit à cette hauteur-là.
So every time there was the same gap between the wire and the carpet, the mat below or the net below, and so it was step by step to go up, not feeling it was going up.
Le professeur qui m'a appris, c'est un ancien traditionnel du cirque qui était spécialisé en funambule.
The teacher who teaches Tatiana was a high wire walker himself from the traditional family, or?
Oui, famille.
Yeah, he used to work as a traditional high wire walker.
Et j'avais une grande confiance en lui qui me disait que j'étais capable de faire quelque chose. Et ben j'y allais en fait. Je savais que c'était vrai.
Lots of confidence in what he teaches me, and when he says you can go, I did it and it was possible.
À 9 ans, j'étais déjà à 3 mètres de haut sur un monocycle sans ceinture de sécurité.
When I was 9 years old, I was a 3-meter high wire on a monocycle with no lifeline or anything. Just this was the way we learned.
Quand j'ai commencé à faire de la grande hauteur, ça a été différent. Je suis montée à 6 mètres en école de cirque loisir, c'était le plus haut que j'étais.
I went up to 6 meters high in this school, this circus school, which was not a professional circus school, and that was then when it became different afterwards, when it was over 6 meters.
Mm-hmm. Et après, quand je suis devenue professionnelle, j'ai fait quelques traversées, surtout des ascensionnelles qui partaient du sol et qui montaient à 20 mètres maximum.
And then when I started as a professional afterwards, the walks went mostly up-going walks. Up to like 20 meters high.
Et là, j'avais pas de peur à gérer. C'était normal pour moi.
There was no fear to deal with. It was normal to walk on these lines.
Mais la première grande traversée qu'on a fait avec Basinga, c'était une traversée qui démarrait à 15 mètres et qui terminait à 25 mètres, à 40 mètres. Et c'était sur 200 mètres de long. Et j'avais jamais pu m'entraîner à ça avant. Et là, par contre.
So the first big walk we did with Basinga was starting at 15 meters high and 200 meters long, up to 40 meters high on the other side to a church. And that's something else. That was a different feeling for her.
J'ai passé, avant de faire la générale, j'ai passé une nuit quasiment blanche où j'angoissais.
There was the night before I almost didn't sleep just by trying to have this movie.
Et je me suis dit, si c'est ça le métier de funambule, je fais cette traversée et après c'est terminé.
If this is highwire walking and the job of highwire walking, I do this one and then I stop.
Et du coup, je suis quelqu'un qui travaille beaucoup sur le mental, qui me pose beaucoup de questions. Et du coup, ce que j'ai fait, c'est que j'ai appelé ma psychologue.
I'm someone who's working a lot on mental and psychological way of dealing with these things. So I called my psychologist.
Pour comprendre en fait pourquoi est-ce que j'étais dans cet état-là.
To understand why I was in this kind of why I felt like this now and for this walk.
Et cette traversée voulait dire beaucoup de choses pour moi parce que c'est une traversée que je rêvais depuis que j'étais toute petite. C'était dans la ville où j'avais grandi.
It was a crossing that meant a lot to me because it was in the city where I was born. It was a walk I dreamt of for years. So it was a really important walk.
Et je regardais cette traversée avec mes yeux de petite fille de 12 ans.
And I looked at this walk as if I was a girl with the eyes of a 10-year-old girl. So back in the past.
Donc on a détricoté cette espèce de peur parce qu'entre-temps je suis devenue professionnelle.
And so with a psychologist, she worked on now I'm a full adult professional high-wire walker. I'm not the 10-year-old girl anymore.
J'ai aussi appelé Rudy Omankowski, qui est un traditionnel du cirque, qui est un des plus grands funambules au monde, qui lui a raconté que j'avais cette peur et il m'a dit que j'étais complètement stupide et qu'au premier cavaletti, j'allais me rendre compte de ma stupidité et que c'est un fil et que je connais par cœur le fil.
I called also Rudy Omankowski, who is a famous high-wire walker, and he told me, you are completely stupid. You will see when you get to the first cavaletti wire, you will say, this is a wire. I know this, I'm at home. And that's what happened, I think. Yeah.
No need to worry. Wow, that's fascinating. I don't know if any of you have seen Tatiana perform, but she's got an incredible comfort and a brand new style to high wire. And that really tells us why. It's completely ingrained. It's very cool. Interesting to see. Now you guys have a sort of dream team going on, Jan and Tatiana, with the rigging side, the technical side, and Tatiana's performance side. When did you guys join together and become a kind of duo in that?
We met each other on a show by a circus called Cirque, where Tatiana came to replace Jake Kindermartin, who had to go home for a thing at the family, and so we worked for some months together on different shows, and then we all went to the same village in the south of France, where a friend of us organized a festival, and she asked Tatiana if she was happy to walk on a wire for this festival. And Tatiana was happy to do this, but was not happy to do the setup and to understand how to build the whole wire there. And so the common friend of us asked me if I was capable and if I wanted to build the wire. And that's the first time the three of us worked together. And after this first walk, we decided to create the company we have now, to do this more often.
Ouais. Pour moi, le funambule et l'installation du funambule, c'est deux métiers différents.
I'd like to add something. For me, it's two different jobs, she says, walking on a wire and building a wire.
Et quand je faisais les installations, moi, il y avait beaucoup de moments où en fait, ça me faisait stresser l'attente et le fait de monter ce matériel et d'être responsable de quelque chose que je connaissais pas assez.
And when I was doing my proper setups, waiting and the stress and not being confident in everything I'm doing, it's not my thing. I put a lot of stress and thinking in my head where I want to concentrate on the wire walking.
Donc maintenant, je m'entraîne et l'équipe technique installe le matériel. Et vu que je m'entraîne, je suis déjà dans la traversée. Et ça me permet d'y aller beaucoup plus sereinement.
So since then, Tatiana is doing her training and walking. When we are doing the setup on site, we have another small wire next to it, ready for her to do some training and being into the walk instead of being into building and construction.
Yeah, right. It's an interesting deal there. I've always said when you're touring with circuses, you're just builders who do a bit of performance on the side, because you've got to put the tent up and take the tent down twice a week. But yeah, it's an interesting question. I've got written here, like, what came first, the rigging or the wire? And for me, it was a process that kind of came together. And almost the rigging, I find, is harder than the walking in some cases because of the situation you have to do it. Andrea, what's your association with rigging? Do you have a team or do you man it yourself?
I have my team, but I work pretty always with my team. I start rigging by myself with some friend, and we learn together how to rig, how to make everything about the stuff, to know the equipment. And so we start together learning. So I always follow my rigging, and even if the most heavy stuff now I leave it to the rigging team, and just the supervision. And but I like to be here involved in the heavy stuff. So I not think about the walk. You know, I will think about the walk just a second when it starts. And when it started, too late to think about it because you have to act it and you cannot think. So I skip the time to think about it. I deep myself in the rigging. Even in the rigging, you have to be totally focused in what you are doing. No, so it's nice. This is my training to the walk.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it is almost a process, isn't it? Of once you know everything is completely secure, then it completely secures your mind because nothing can go wrong then. Yeah. How about you, Oliver? You worked with the team for a long time?
Well, a lot of times do the rigging myself. Sometimes if it's a big walk, I have a team or people helping me. But for me, it's the rigging setup is really a moment where I get into the walk. It's a moment where I build up. It's a process of coming in on the wire or coming up the wire, and being at the height, being in place, having the view of what is around, sometimes I go on the wire with a cat roll to put on the cavalettis. And while I'm going over the wire with a cat roll, I have the view of what I will see later, but I'm just sitting. And that is, for me, a pretty good exercise to go into the wire walk. And I really like this, the part of rigging. When I was a small boy, I always liked to play with ropes and making knots and all this, and hang ropes to trees and swing on it. And I like this touching the material, being with the material, feel the material. And for me, the wire is a partner. It's not just a steel wire, it's a real partner. And when I step on the wire, I greet my partner. And this is very important for me to really be on all this together, the wire, the setup, and it helps me to go into the walk.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about high wire is that it has this, I guess because of the risk involved, it has a very kind of like deep kind of philosophical feeling to it, doesn't it? When you practice this kind of art. Yeah, interesting. I kind of I agree with all three of you in a lot of ways, and yeah, that's really, really cool. So that kind of goes on a little bit to kind of general mental state. Like how has high wire affected your life? And like in terms of the mind and the processes you put forward to doing that. I'll start with you, Oliver.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
How has the high wire affected your life in general in terms of the way you look at life?
Okay. Well, I'm working with a high wire since 23 years now, and not everything, but a lot of things turn around the wire. It makes me travel. It makes me live. It's my income. And so I'm living with the wire, on the wire, and the wire, the shows on the wire, gives me a good feeling, and it makes sense to my life, or gives sense to my life. I think I can, with my wire, I can give something to the public, and that makes sense for me, and I need sense in my life. And so the wire, makes my life whole, something really round and fulfilled.
Yeah, gorgeous. And you, Andrea, I know you have tell us about your aspect and vision into high wire.
When you are on the wire, you are totally focused on what you are doing. You have to call all your being to be there, and somehow you are more dense. It's more tough, more essential. And this is a condition that we can reach, not we just as Funambule, but everyone in the life. No? And so the point for me is how to be so tough, how to be so focused in my life, what is not apparently so risky. And when you can do two things together, not like driving and phoning with apparently small risk. And so I try to be so intense as I am on the wire in my life, no? to make my shopping on Monday after the work. At the beginning, it was something like crazy. You know, after your show, you have to go to the supermarket. You cannot think about it. It's something out of our idea, not crazy. And so after my work, I had a lot of down to start again my not normal life. But I'm working on. I have the same presence. Have the same good feeling in my life, everyday life, no? And so walking on the wire is not really me walking on the wire. Something bigger is the archetype of the funambule, is something else. And so with my small ego on Monday, I try to be that big and that void, ready to feel and ready to be what you are, no? Exactly what you are. I don't know, I think it's the same for you. I feel so free on the wire because it's totally myself, it's just myself. And finally, if you take off all your stuff, all your costume, I think we are bigger, we are emptiness, ready to be everything. And so when you live, if you start your living from that point, from that emptiness, that's the way to live really, to live rich. And so the funambule is my teacher, no? That walking somehow my point to be.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Yeah, I call it enforced meditation, I suppose, because you have to be there, otherwise it's all going to go wrong. Yeah. Yes, it's interesting. I've always found this. Like I read, say, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. He speaks about being in the moment and how important that is, and the process to be able to do that through meditation and through different ways of looking at the world. And with the highwire,
you have to be ready to accept everything on the wire. No, stepping back is a roast, then going on. And so when you start, you have to go through the feeling, through the trouble, and to be in the trouble, totally in the trouble, to see the way to go out, to pass through, no? So even in life, when something is not so good or something like this, I try to slow down, to step through, and to harmonize some way my being to the problem.
Yeah, everything is a decision, I say. Everything is a decision. Yeah, Tatiana and Jan. How about you, Tatiana? How has it affected you? I mean, it's your entire world, isn't it? My perspective of highwire is starting at, as a kind of late teenager. But how has highwire affected your world?
La vie, elle est gérée par le funambulisme.
Oui.
Dans quelle mesure?
In terms of the way you look at it, or is it's everything? Sorry, Karen.
C'est une discipline qui demande beaucoup de préparation, et du coup la manière dont je me contrôle pour faire une grande traversée, c'est que je suis quelqu'un qui est toujours dans le contrôle, en fait.
It's a discipline, highwire walking, that asks lots of control and organization for her, and so in all of her life to be ready to this kind of walk and do this, she's almost all the time in controlling everything around.
Et c'est très étrange parce que en même temps je suis quelqu'un qui est hyper bordélique et qui accepte tout ce qui arrive.
And it's really strange because on the other hand she's someone that accepts everything that comes to her, and she can be really disorganized.
Et ce qui est sûr en tout cas, c'est que d'être sur ce fil, le fait d'être juste de marcher, il y a quelque chose qui se pose dans la respiration, qui vient beaucoup plus avec le vent.
But just being on this wire and walking through the breathing, it comes to something that really just puts you on the wire and gets you down there in the belly.
Et le fait d'avoir la hauteur, ça met le corps à un endroit qui est pas normal et qui convoque directement l'instinct de survie.
And being at height puts the body in a place where it says something's wrong. I have to be careful here. The survival instinct is there in a way to be on this wire at this height.
Et ce que je trouve vraiment très agréable à cet endroit-là, c'est que d'un coup, il n'y a plus rien d'autre qui existe que la traversée.
And for me, at this point, there's something really nice to live this. There's nothing else that exists anymore than this walk on the line.
Il y a des gens qui méditent des années pour avoir cette sensation. Moi, j'ai juste à monter en hauteur et faire un pied sur le fil et je suis là, je suis présente.
There's people that are working with meditation for years and years to get to this particular spot, and I just have to step on my wire and it's there, it comes.
Et ça permet d'être ensuite beaucoup plus stable parce que le fait de prendre de la hauteur, ben, ça fait que je prends de la hauteur sur moi-même et sur la vie en général.
And that helps you to get more stable because being up there and going up there, it brings you down to yourself and to get more stable and back to yourself.
Et ce que je peux dire maintenant, parce que j'ai dû arrêter le funambule là pendant presque 2 ans, mais des grandes traversées, ça fait 2 ans que j'en ai passé. Et j'étais enceinte et ensuite j'ai eu mon bébé, donc le temps de revenir sur le fil.
What I can say now is that after 2 years of more or less inactivity because she was pregnant and there was a virus around the world which stopped us from doing shows, so there was no high walk for 2 years.
C'était beaucoup plus difficile pour moi d'avoir une vie sereine et j'avais beaucoup d'énergie à contrôler que j'avais pas d'habitude.
And so not having this activity because of the pregnancy and everything, there was a lot of energy that went everywhere and that was not channeled into this high wire walking.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's an incredible gift, isn't it? I feel the high wire, and it's an interesting thing because from the outside perspective, it's all about the fear and the height and the danger, but then actually from the inside perspective, it's very grounding. It's completely the opposite in a lot of ways. Yeah, really nice to hear that. A little question from the audience there, Jan. How does your work together? What does it look like? The work that you do together currently. Speak about the technical side of Basinga, your company.
Yeah, within Basinga, so it's funny because maybe some of these questions could be answered by myself as well doing the setup and. It's not me on the wire, it's she's on the wire, but I have to be sure about what we built as a wire and how it's going to happen for everyone, to be sure about anchorage points, and it's a kind of you could imagine fear if you're not sure about your building. You could imagine you don't have it in your hands anymore because it's her on the wire and I don't know my job is finished. So it's interesting to see these kind of places where these kind of two jobs meet each other. Yeah. On one hand, and while we work together is sometimes the which kind of walk do we design? Do we go up, down? Do we make a bend? We could imagine different things. So that's the way we talk about the lines we are going to draw into this city. And then a big part of the project within Basinga is sharing high wire walking and all the jobs we have within the company with other people and doing workshops about high wire walking, but workshops about music as well and everything. So it's that's where we work a lot together as well, having adults and kids walking on wires, being in hospitals and working with people there.
How interesting, yeah. As I always say, when you're on a high wire, the people around you feel the fear for you, and I guess in your position, Jan, is kind of like that, isn't it? Putting every single
in a way. Yeah, but on the other hand, when Tatiana talks about her high wire walking, she says if there is fear in her when she goes on the wire, real fear, when her heartbeat goes up, then it's not good. She's not on the right place. So I know that when she goes, it's all good. It's fine for her. And then there's only the things that can happen on the road, on the wire, that could do something. But I know she has 30 years of experience, and so that's her part. I just can be doing the things on the ground and be ready to have seen as much possible as possible.
Yeah, awesome. I would like a Jan. I don't know if you guys would like a Jan as well. Yeah, very cool. So I wanted to touch a little bit on I guess at Circus at the moment, I've kind of noticed is that we're coming to kind of almost the end of a thread of traditional, and we're kind of at the beginning of a thread of contemporary circus. The style has kind of changed over recent years, do you think? And Oliver, I'll start with you on what's your view on the traditional high wire world, and what do you see for the future of high wire? Do you want to keep the tradition alive in its style, or do you see it kind of changing and developing over?
Well, there is a kind of change from the traditional. In the traditional persons I know, it's always going down from the parents to the children, and they give it further to the children, and so they work in the same style more or less. And the persons I know, they work in family. It's like family business, and it stays more or less the same. They develop their art. It's not stable. It's not fixed. I dropped in there without knowing anything about wire walking, and so I just developed my own style, but I feel myself in quite old school style. Like I'm walking, I do my setup, I travel around, and like a little bit more like the traditionals. I have no fixed team, and well, for me, wire walking is changing because we have different materials. We have different techniques, but still the same for me is we are walking on a wire, and the image we give, like we are on the wire, and people are looking at us, and thus this point stays the same. It's so it's developing. And if I look at the work of Tatiana, she's doing a lot around the wire, like with keeping the pole on one side, laying on it, and this is something very new, hanging on the wire and doing these things. It's a new style, it's new work, but still for me the wire walking and the fascinating thing about wire walking stays the same, because people, they look at it like wow, someone is walking in the sky. And this is well, it's something staying the same and being different now, because, well, I started in a circus school. Andrea started from herself, Tatiana as well, in the circus school. So it's not this traditional thing coming from the family and from one point and going further through the family.
Yeah.
So well, something old and still new and changing.
Yeah, it's a journey of discovery, I guess, for everyone. But the magic will always stay the same. It's true. Yeah. Tatiana, I mean, I see you as a kind of pioneer of the modern style in highwire. Like I've been very inspired by the fact that you're a wire, you dance on the wire, and the carabiner that you've got on your pole to hang from and stuff is really interesting. Do you make up the tricks? Are you developing the style as you go? Are you inspired by like any other high wire walkers of the past?
Pour moi, moi, j'ai tendance à me voir comme quelqu'un qui vient du cirque traditionnel et qui s'est emparé de tout le vocabulaire traditionnel.
I tend to see myself as someone coming from the traditional school originally, and who took all these part of this education, traditional education.
Et à un moment donné, je me suis dit, mais le funambule m'a tellement donné, qu'est-ce que moi j'apporte à la discipline?
At a certain moment, I asked myself, or said to myself, the high wire gave me so much things. What can I bring to high wire?
Et qui je suis en fait sur ce fil?
Who am I on this wire?
Et qu'est-ce que j'ai envie de faire et de développer?
And what would I like to do and to develop on this wire?
J'ai commencé à danser et à chercher sur le fil en même temps que j'ai commencé à faire beaucoup plus de danse contemporaine au sol.
I started dancing on the wire and trying to find new ways of moving on the wire at the same time as I started dancing on the ground.
Et j'ai beaucoup travaillé avec Ana Rodriguez, qui est une grande danseuse.
And I worked a lot with a choreographer, which is called Ana Rodriguez, which is a huge dancer.
Et je me suis rendu compte que mon fil, c'était un sol.
And for me, the wire is as a ground, is the ground.
Et quand j'ai commencé à danser sur le sol, je me suis rendu compte que j'avais pas les bons appuis, que j'étais pas à l'aise sur ce sol.
And when I was dancing on the floor, on the real floor, I felt I had not the good steps, not the right position. I was not in place.
Je suis partie dans des grosses improvisations où j'ai senti le même état de flow que sur les grandes traversées.
There were some moments where I improvised dancing and I felt the same flow as what happens on the wire up there.
Et je me suis dit que là, il y avait quelque chose d'intéressant, qu'il fallait que je trouve ce flow à 2 mètres de haut et que j'explore en fait, et que je laisse mon corps s'exprimer.
So how to bring this dancing flow on a 2 meter high wire and let my body do things and talk for itself.
Et avec les yeux, en plus d'Ana Rodriguez, on a commencé à trouver des mouvements, des figures qui s'enchaînent dans tous les sens. Et ce que j'aimerais pouvoir faire, mon but ultime, ce serait de faire une vraie chorégraphie sur le fil avec des moments d'improvisation, mais que ça s'arrête jamais de bouger en fait.
And with the eyes of Ana Rodriguez, the choreographer, they started to work and bring movements together. And the ultimate dream, would be a movement, a continuous movement on the wire, from moving from one part to another and under, over, around the wire.
Des fois, j'ai des images, par exemple la figure l'éolienne, quelque chose que j'avais dans la tête et je me demandais comment faire. Et là, ça a été un travail avec Yann d'imaginer le balancier qui m'aiderait à faire ça et de trouver comment réussir à faire cette figure-là.
There's a move that she has an image of it laying down on the wire with the balance stick perpendicular to the wire, and then turn around with the whole balance stick around the wire. So then we started to think about how can we imagine this, how to weld pieces on the balance stick to have it on the wire and fixed, and then working on it to get it happen.
So it's something like that.
Amazing, so cool. Yeah, it's funny with wire walking, the flow like trick, and then walk, and then trick, walk. Yeah, so it's hard to get the complete flow of movement, I suppose. Yeah, but you do a very good job at it, I admit. And Andrea, what's your kind of look on the traditional contemporary side of things? And I guess head-heart balance is your game, isn't it? And how do you bring that into your world?
But I agree with Oliver. You get the point. There is two levels. One is the walking on the wire. That is just walking on the wire. That's the essential of our work. Mm-hmm. And that I think maybe the more general, the archetypal thing. We join and the people, the audience can see clearly. Maybe not mental clearly, but it reach their heart. The meaning of walking a wire is something like their life, something like our life. And there is another level that is making tricks on the wire, innovate this point. But I think this is not my point. It's the Tatiana point. I enjoy to see her on the wire. It's very beautiful. And thanks for your dancing. But it's not my point. I'm trying to go on the other side to be really, really, really essential, just walking on the wire. And I'm something like a surfer. I'm looking for the perfect step.
Yeah.
Just a step, but perfect.
Yeah, great. Amazing. Do you have an audience that came from a question that came from the audience, rather? Do you have a dream walk, like a big goal in your life? Yeah.
Yeah, I have this perfect walk. The big one is on a bridge on Japan. I saw that bridge when I was in Japan for my Zen training, and it's about maybe 4 or 5 kilometer suspended bridge, and it's already rigged. It's just ready to walk, and so this is my dream walk. Yeah.
Cool. How about you, Oliver? You got a dream walk in there?
Not really a dream walk. Sometimes I see places where I say, there I could put a wire and that would be nice, but I don't have one special place. My dream walk is where is audience, where the public is, where they can see what I do and be together with this public, have a community together, coming together just, where this feeling is, that's my dream walk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Awesome. Really, really nice. Tatiana, have you got anywhere you'd like to walk in the future? Is there a dream walk in there for you?
Pour moi, toutes les traversées le fait d'être sur un fil, c'est déjà un rêve. Et peu importe l'endroit, peu importe la traversée, c'est comment est-ce qu'on arrive à la nourrir.
For me, every walk is already a dream. So whichever line I walk, it's already nice, and just try to understand how to make it.
Et je me sens déjà tellement chanceuse de pouvoir évoluer sur un funambule à notre époque et d'être libre, de pouvoir le faire comme j'ai envie de le faire.
I'm already so happy to be able to do this job nowadays and to do it the way I want to do it and to be free to do it.
Pour l'instant, il n'y a aucune traversée qu'on a fait avec la compagnie Basinga qui n'a pas été menacée d'être annulée.
There is no walk we did with the company that in a way in the preps was maybe going to be cancelled because several reasons.
Yes, la météo, quelqu'un qui a trop peur, quelqu'un qui n'a pas envie qu'on le fasse parce que je travaille sans ceinture de sécurité.
The weather, the fact that Tatiana is normally walking without a lifeline, the fact that the buildings maybe do not accept us.
Donc, rien que ça, déjà, pour moi, c'est énorme de pouvoir faire ce métier à cette époque-là où la sécurité et le risque sont compliqués à mettre en avant. Et la prise de risque.
It's really good to be able to do this nowadays where risk and security are main issues everywhere, and sometimes difficult to convince people to explain what we are doing and why we take these risks, but not danger and so on.
Yeah.
Et réagir à ce qu'a dit Andrea par rapport à la pureté du mouvement et de la marche.
And I just would like to talk about what Andrea said about the pureness of the step on the wire.
Parce que je pense que c'est la même chose qu'on recherche en fait.
Because I think it's the same thing she's looking for and you are looking for.
Et ce que j'aimerais pouvoir réussir à faire sur scène, c'est ce que j'arrive parfois à faire en entraînement. Laisser mon corps s'exprimer comme il a envie et faire cette traversée du début à la fin, quelque chose qui commence et qui se termine.
What I would like to do on stage is my body goes through it as I do it in a rehearsal, and it's a perfect moment sometimes, and how to do it on stage.
Et le jour où j'arriverai à faire ça en public, ce sera le plus dur de ma vie.
And the day I manage to do this in front of an audience, that will be the dream walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's I always say just feel, isn't it? You switch off the mind and just feel. And actually yesterday they were talking about the psychology of the flow state. I think, Oliver, you did an experiment with that. Yeah, it was really interesting to see the relation of the flow state between different disciplines and how you can apply that in different places. And I guess that is what you talk about, Andrea, I guess, with the step. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Another question here. I didn't actually think of this one, but music. Like, what music do you listen to on the wire? Does music affect your performing style? Andrea, I will start with you on that one.
Yeah, I often walk with no music because silence is emphasize the feeling, emphasize the situation. But sometimes you have to. As I like to walk with music. No, to be the flow state is something like to be open to everything and to be with everything around you. So when there is music, you have to deal and enjoy music and to be with the music. Now, often people ask me, how can you close out the reality? I don't close out the reality. I open up to reality, to everything is around me, people, music, police machine making noise to street away, and everything is that moment when you are on the wire. And when you walk the wire, the world did not stop for you. One from a friend of mine talk about meditation, say when you sit on the cushion, world is going on, it does not stop for you. And it's the same on the wire. And so to be open in the way to manage everything, not to control, because you cannot control everything, but to be open, to be ready to accept what's going on. And this state make me open to music. And when there is music, I try to be in music. I change my rhythm on the step. So I don't dance on the wire, but I try to harmonize my walking with the rhythm and with the feeling of music. Sometimes it emphasizes the big moment, like the ending, or when you cheer people. And so sometimes music underlines the clear moment for in the show. So I like music, and I like to walk with no music, especially when I'm in a more wide contest, not exactly maybe in a city, in the mountain, or between the trees. Silence, I think, is better, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. And how about you, Oliver? How does music affect your work?
Well, I have now, since a few years, I work almost all the time with the same music. And I put together different parts of music. And it starts with a lyrical singer. It's a part from opera. Mm-hmm. And last 2 years ago, someone asked me could you change something? And I feel that I try to adapt the style of the music to what they wanted, to have it a little bit more energetic, more punk style. Mm-hmm. And it didn't work out for me. And I really, when I start to walk on the wire, I really like this lyrical singer, and it makes me come on the wire. And I'm really in the music and on the wire at the same time. It happened to me that I worked without music, and silence is music for me as well. And I agree with Andrea, what he said. It's it gives another dimension if you just are in silence. And when I did a very long distance walk, it is very difficult to have the music all over the way and make it sound good for the public as well. So sometimes it's easier to work with silence music and just be on the wire, be there in the moment, and just make it without music. But there's always sound of silence.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's always there. Interesting. And then Tatiana, do you guys work with a lot of live music? Do you noticed? Is that true?
Nous, on travaille toujours avec les mêmes musiciens et la musique live.
Yeah, we are always working with the same musicians and live music performing.
My father is a musician and I've grown up with music, so it's something very important for me.
Right.
Et sur en fait, toute la partition musicale, elle a été écrite au fur et à mesure, et c'est une partition musicale qui est très terrienne, qui est très ancrée, avec des grosses envolées lyriques.
The whole score, the whole music has been written during the different shows by the guys who make the music and the girls, and it's a really grounded music with sometimes these lyrical flyovers which make...
Mais des fois, c'est une partition qui est très, très éclectique.
It's a very eclectic sound where all kind of different registers of emotions and sound.
Et je me sens complètement enveloppée par cette musique. Et des fois, toute seule, c'est difficile. Mais juste le fait d'entendre la musique, le corps, il y va.
And the music helps her sometimes to go for it and go through it because it pulls and takes her through different moments.
Pour nous, enfin pour moi sur le fil, en tout cas, les musiciens, c'est des partenaires de jeu. Ils ont autant d'importance que moi.
Within the company, the musicians are really partners on the wire and have their same importance as the one walking on the wire.
Il y a des moments où je me calme sur le fil et c'est la musique qui prend la place.
There are moments where it slows down on the wire and it's the music that goes up, and it balances between music and wire. Or the two together.
Et on attache aussi beaucoup d'importance au son, parce qu'un son qui a une bonne qualité, qui peut être capté de tout le monde et qui englobe tout le monde, fait qu'on vit quelque chose en osmose en fait.
And that's what we try to do with the sound engineers, to have the whole audience in this bubble of sound, the same sound that Tatiana has on the wire, and the people have the same quality on the ground, and we try to have them all into this, to have this whole experience together.
Ça fait qu'on est une grosse équipe entre la technique, le son, les musiciens, la funambule, on arrive vite à...
So very often there's a lot of us.
Presque 14 personnes.
For a show between the 3 musicians, sound engineers, highwire technicians, we often are around 13, 14 people traveling for a show.
Wow. Yeah.
It's nice because often people think we are something like solo performer, Yeah, we are alone on the wire, but there are a lot of people around us working with us, musician, rigger, and live music is strong because open this bubble the people imagine around the funambule, because the funambule is dialoguing with the music, and so it's clear that it's not something like different, something like close to the public or to the audience, and the funambule, I think, is open to a dialogue. It's not so close. So it's nice to have the live music. Yeah.
Wow, so cool. Yeah, I've got a very close relationship with music as well, I guess. But I find this, I perform in shows a lot. And I find that when I'm on the wire, I completely lose concept of time. So the music really keeps me in time, so I don't stick around for too long. But yeah, no, it's good. Live music as well is so powerful, isn't it? When everyone can then move together. Yeah, it's very good for different shows I've watched. It's been the best shows I watch have had live music.
But Oliver said something very interesting about having same music all the time. No, yeah. Is there something like a ritual? I think walking on the wire is a ritual. Same thing. Every 100,000 of step that can be the same step, but in this way, when you make the same gesture, you can, and then you can go to the annoying you, and it's very dangerous on the wire to be annoyed, to be mechanical gesture, or on the other side you can open up to the holiness, going deep and deep in the same gesture. And so it's something like a ritual to have the same music, to have the same step, and to go deeper in the same movement. Often, even when you climb, you make the same movement 1,000 times. But if you are on this movement, you deep in this moment, and you feel everything something new. You discover something new any step. Anytime you go on the wire, the same at the same time is different. That's the power of a ritual.
Yeah, it's for sure that doing the same thing or having the same music makes it it's not a routine. It's
that's the point.
Something, a ritual. It's a very good word for this. And if you be aware of what you're doing, or really in your body, it doesn't get to be how do you say, something you're used to, and you don't go into the danger zone because you're used to it and you do it, but still you're conscious, and you do the same thing, but you're so open-minded, and go safely through it. And this is a very, very, very good experience. And where you go into this flow we were talking about, and that's for me. It's and as you said, Ellis, it's this rhythm, the coming into this losing time on the wire. The music, as we know it, or as I know it, it takes me, okay, next music will start, and I have to walk, and so it makes, it gives a little bit of the time lapse you have on the wire, and it makes it good for me to know, okay, I'm here, and makes me know where I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really important for that, for sure. And interesting the talk of ritual as well, because I guess a really important kind of question in what we do is safety. And I guess for you, Oliver, your music is actually an extension of your safety precaution, because you put yourself into this world and this bubble. And it's always been, I know you've probably all been through it as well, of trying to explain the safety involved in what we do. And I think that's one thing that's changed over time is the fact that now the safety leash and the carabiner has started to become a bit more present, I guess, in the modern day highwire walks. Safety in general has become a big deal, I guess, for people. Like, what's your opinion on safety? Do you walk with a safety leash in performance, Oliver?
Well, I did one very big walk. It was 50 meters high and more than 300 meters long. And it was not in the very beginning, but something like 7 years after I started. But it was a first walk of this distance and in this height. And the organizer, she asked me, well, could you please take a safety, because while we are not, we have to convince the official, the policeman and all this. And I said, no, I'm a highwire walker. I work without. And I started to sleep very badly 3 weeks before the show. And then one moment I said, okay, I will take the safety. I will have a safety rope, a lifeline, and it calms me down. And when I did this walk, after I did this walk, I came down to the public. There were, it was in a small town. There were something 5,000 people being there. And when I walked through the people after the walk, there were at least 5, 7, 8 persons coming to me and saying, thank you that you took this safe lifeline, because I could look to it without fear. I knew you will not fall down, you will not kill yourself. And because I do my work for the public, that they have this good moment and this good memory of, I saw someone walk in the sky, and I without fear. And from this moment, I said, okay, I will walk with a safety. It calms me down. For me, it doesn't take off something of the art of wire walking. It's the same. The risk, the artistic risk is the same. If I fall and I hang in the rope, it's this image would be very annoying for me. I would be happy not to be on the ground, but for me, the important thing is never to use the lifeline for what it's there, not to fall, but to give the people the possibility to look at the walk without fear. And this is the important thing. So for long distance walk and high walks, I use the safety normally.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. That's a great perspective to have. How about you, Andrea?
Great idea, Oliver. Great view.
Yeah.
And I work with leash and with no leash, because I want to be free from the obligation of use it or of not use it. To be stronger because I don't use it, or to be safer because I use it. So it depends of my feeling at the moment. And sometimes organization asks me to use it. It doesn't matter. It's okay. I can use it. I cannot use it. I want to be free on this position. But it's not so easy, to be free from the idea that you are stronger or that you are safer or something like this. It's a struggle for me, this position, this idea about the safety line. But it's okay. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't use it.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I think it's it's an odd one. I've always said it's like when you're walking with it, because I feel like high wire you need to have 100% of focus, no? But then when I have a safety line, I feel there's like I need to leave kind of 5% for the safety line because sometimes it gets caught or like it tugs on you, so I feel a little bit less like secure, even though I'm more secure. It's a very odd relationship I've got with a safety line. How about you, Tatiana? I've not ever seen you with a safety, I don't think.
Moi, j'ai un peu la vision traditionnelle des choses là-dessus, où quand je ne sais pas faire quelque chose, je mets une ceinture de sécurité. Quand j'ai appris à faire du monocycle, quand j'ai appris à faire certaines figures, j'avais une ceinture de sécurité.
I've got a kind of traditional view on it, which they teach me. When I'm not capable of doing something, I have my safety leash, but when I'm capable of doing it.
Pour moi, ce qui est important, c'est que tout le montage et que toute la traversée soit en sécurité. Et pour moi, c'est pas seulement une longe qui apporte la sécurité.
For me, it's not only just the leash that brings safety into a walk; it's the whole setup and the whole walk.
Et je ne suis pas là pour rassurer le public sur le fait que je ne vais pas mourir. Au contraire, je suis là pour dire oui, je peux mourir à chaque instant. Et oui, vous aussi, vous pouvez mourir à chaque instant. Et c'est pas parce que je suis sur un fil que je vais mourir plus vite que vous.
I'm not there to reassure the audience to say no, I'm not going to fall. I'm just here to say yes, I am on a wire. Something could go wrong, but for you too, something can go wrong. It's not because I'm on a wire that I'm going to die faster than you are on the ground.
Et, sur le fil, je suis pas quelqu'un qui repousse les limites. Je fais que ce que je suis capable de faire et je baisse mon niveau, on va dire à 60% de mon potentiel.
I'm not pushing the limits on the wire. I produce myself at 60% of what I'm capable of, and the rest is safety space.
Et qu'est-ce que je voulais dire autre chose encore?
And what else?
Je suis pas pour ou contre la ceinture de sécurité. Mais pour moi, ce qui est important, c'est que je ne veux pas que des gens réfléchissent à ma place et me disent tu dois mettre une ceinture de sécurité.
I'm not against or for a safety leash. I just don't want people to decide for me what is the best thing for me to do, and I want to take my choice in this kind of questions.
Parce que c'est moi la professionnelle.
Because I'm the professional.
Et c'est notre équipe qui est professionnelle et c'est tout ce qu'on met en place qui est professionnel. Donc si vous nous demandez de faire une traversée, faites-nous confiance. Si vous n'avez pas confiance en nous, c'est pas grave, on ne travaille pas ensemble.
So it's us doing the professional setup and the whole preparation for the show. If you are not confident in our professionalism, then maybe we don't have to work together, but we choose where we want to go.
Après dans le discours, on n'est pas aussi radical. On fait beaucoup de pédagogie autour de ça pour expliquer qu'on a un protocole de sécurité.
Yeah, when we talk with people, it's not this black and white. We do a lot of education explaining why we do it this way and how, and we take the time to exchange with the people and see if there's a way to do it together.
J'explique que sous mon costume, j'ai un baudrier de sécurité, que si je sens qu'il y a le moindre problème, je peux m'asseoir, accrocher mon balancier qui a aussi un mousqueton et faire un signe aux techniciens pour qu'ils viennent me chercher parce que je suis pas capable de continuer.
Underneath her costume, she wears a harness with a small carabiner. So if the wind, for example, picks up during the show, she can go and sit down, clip herself on the wire, wait for the conditions to get better or not, and then continue or not her walk. And just there are lots of safety procedures we have. The balance stick as well can be fixed on the wire. So all these things exist, and we worked on it yesterday. We did a an evacuation from the wire as if something was going wrong, just to do and check these procedures.
Pour moi, tout ça, c'est, for me, all that is security.
Yes.
Yeah, so good. But the real point, thank you, Tatiana, is that everyone has the same risk. On the wire, on the ground, on the bicycle, on the car. I think on the car, on the bicycle, might be more risk. But that's the point. We try not to risk more. We just accept this side of the existence. We are here and we cannot be here quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
What you said about this, Andrea, is to be free to decide and to be free to walk on the wire. And it joins what Tatiana says. We are free to decide if I walk with or without safety. And we are the professionals. And sometimes if I feel the safety brings more brings less safety, because I can feel it can stick, or it makes me feel uncomfortable. I say, okay, I take off the safety, I don't use it, and I work with conscience, and I lower down. I work on 60 or 50% of my capability, and then I'm still safe. And within this, we are free to do the work. And when you asked about what affected our life, and for me, the thing on the wire is I feel now much more free than I felt before wire walking. And this thing works inside with a safety. This is a thing we are free to decide, and that's a point about this. So I agree with Andrea and Tatiana in this point, and even with Ellis, when you say it's this 5%, you have this concentration on your lifeline, and you lose this 5%. Yes, that does exist, and we are free to say, okay, I'm just 100% on the wire, and I don't take the safety.
Mm-hmm. When I decide to use or not use, my question for me is, why are you going to be without, or why are you going with? That's the question I ask myself before choosing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where is
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing to express, and it's really cool to hear everyone. Go for it, Tatiana.
Après, en toute honnêteté, je ne sais pas combien de temps je vais être capable de faire ces grandes traversées. Pour l'instant, je me sens bien là-dedans. Mais je ne sais pas, ça se trouve, d'ici quelques années, ce sera terminé pour moi, parce qu'il y aura ça me demandera trop de préparation ou trop de...
And honestly, she said, I really don't know how long I will do these walks. Till now I feel good and well doing these walks, and maybe in some years or it will take too much preparation for me to do these kind of things, and maybe I'll stop walking this long line.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who knows what's coming? Yeah, right. I've got one here, just a personal interest. Do you meet many funambulists? Do you meet many high wire walkers? I've no gauge of how many of us there are in the world. Do you
know?
Yeah, like is it your journey been quite solo, or have you met many other people that walk high wires in your career so far?
Bah, ça dépend si c'est des funambules, si c'est des grandes traversées funambules, ou si c'est juste funambules, funambules.
Depends on what kind of high wire walking you are talking about. If it's the big walks or just the high wire shows on the 8-meter high wire?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, it's kind of open, I guess. Yeah, I've met very few, I suppose.
I had this one experience. I have been to the World Championship of high wire walkers in Seoul, Korea, and there I met about 30. We were 30 on this championship, and from South America, North America, Europe, Asia, lots of countries. And the very nice thing about this were even if we were in competition, at every departure for the competition, it was run on 1 kilometer, and at every departure there were at least 5, 7, 8, 10 funambulists down there, encouraging everybody, and it was a really nice community to be together like this. So sometimes you meet other high wire walkers, and I'm always happy to meet and to exchange, and even the exchange here, even if it's on screen, it's very nice to me to exchange. Okay, how do you do this? How do you feel on the wire? How did you come to do it? This is very, very nice for me to meet other people and to meet them on the wire as well. So I would like to do something together with other high wire walkers, just a meeting to see each other.
Yeah, me too. It's it's a really nice opportunity here. I mean, with the Galway Community Circus focusing so much on high wire now, and they were going to bring us all, I guess, last year to walk together, and hopefully next year that will happen. I'd like there to be more meetups of high wire walkers. It would be really nice, huh? Yeah. We've got a little bit of time left. There's a couple of questions still left from the audience. They're quite big questions, though, I suppose. There's one here for me. What is your dream walk? I guess St. Paul's Cathedral. I don't know if you know St. Paul's Cathedral in London. It's like the 2 towers at the front of that cathedral. That's the one. That would be nice. Yeah, that would be really, really nice. But I think it's time to start wrapping up. Sadly, I could probably talk for another hour with all of you guys. But the time has come. I've got to do a little outro, I've been told to do. But first, it's just thanking you everyone for sharing all of your knowledge, and it's been a really inspiring talk for me to just speak with other wire walkers, and inspired by all of you, and have been before this conversation. At 1:30 p.m. Central European Time, there's going to be another talk looking into the educational and participatory side of funambulism, and later this afternoon we'll be live streaming from Brussels, a high wire crossing of the Brussels Canal. That's quite exciting. So tune in for that. Check out the website for all of that information. And once again, thank you to everyone here. It's been a real pleasure. And Tatiana, good luck for your performance this afternoon.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good
We
luck.
say merda.
On merda. Yeah. And great, yeah. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye to all of you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
To the